Hi, thank you for joining me. So today I'm having a bit of an issue with my laminator, this particular laminator here, and what's happening is whenever I try to laminate any jobs, I'm getting a kind of a crunching effect. And the bottom sheet, the sheet that I'm either feeding in, crunches up more often than not. And sometimes I'll have an issue with the actual the top side, the lamination that I put in. But I don't think the lamination is too much of an issue. I think the issue is more down to the rollers at the bottom being too tight. I've been doing some research, asking a lot of people for help, and they've all been advising that that I shouldn't be making the tension on the two rollers. It shouldn't be too much. If it's too much, it can create an issue. I don't have the option of some of the other laminators where you can tighten the rollers and loosen them in an analog format. I've just got like a very digital format. I've got to choose a setting here, pressure gauge 10 mil, 5 mil down to cold lamination. And obviously when I'm down here, the thing is I have a sneaky suspicion that the rolls are too tight. So what I'm going to attempt to do today is take the side panels off the machine, and then there should be some kind of bolt and nut system where I can loosen it and bring the rollers up. What I'm going to do, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to set this to the highest setting. I'm not going to go with that because that's too high for me to try to identify if there's any issue with the with the actual rollers. I'm going to set it down to 10. I have noticed that when I set it to 10, that I can kind of just about see, if I get down to the right angle, I can kind of see light coming through the rolls. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly just double check that and just make sure that the line is consistent, or maybe the line is great on one end, the light coming through is great on one end and not so much on the other end, and then just make sure that the rolls themselves are straight. Okay, so 1 second, I'll come back to you. Okay, right, so it's difficult to show you guys on the camera, so I'm having to do this visually, and I'm looking at the actual laminator as I'm recording this. The rolls themselves look dead on straight. I can't see that they're being higher at one point, lower on the other point in terms of the straightness of the roll. So I think what I'm going to do now is open up the sides and then decrease the tension between the rolls when it's set to the lowest setting by bringing them up slightly, and then running through a test sheet just to see where we go with that. So what I've done here is I've opened the side panel, which is quite easy to do. I'll do another video showing you how to take that panel off. You have to be very careful when you do take the panel off. Is the control panel itself has got some wires attached to it. You don't want to over pull that. And then what I've identified is that this is the bolt that I need to tighten or loosen to increase the pressure on the rolls, and I need to do that on both ends of the machine. Now that I've actually opened the machine up, I've been able to, and I've also removed the front panel that is on the front here. I've been able to, if I just zoom in, there you go, there. I've been able to identify that there's more of a gap on the right side than there is on the left. So I do need to lift the left side, the roller slightly higher. And the other thing I do need to do is, just generally speaking, I need to decrease that tension when I've got it on the lowest setting. So I'm going to go ahead and open the left panel, which is quite simple. If it's the same as the right panel, it's just this screw here and another screw there. Obviously there's going to be some wiring attached to this. I've got to be careful with the stop button, but then it should just simply come away. Might have to remove the knob as well. This is probably going to have a small Allen key. Oh no, it's come off. It does have an Allen key screw in there, but it's probably just loose. I think I just need to tighten that back on when the time comes. So yeah, so I've loosened the panel on the left side, and it's this particular bolt that I need to loosen or tighten to increase the pressure between these two rolls, and I've got the same bolt on both sides. Now, there isn't any kind of visual markings where I can be certain that I've not over tightened the one bolt more than the other bolt. So I'm using some digital calipers. Obviously in the sign industry, when we're making signs, these are quite useful to measure the thickness of the material. A 3mm ACM board isn't always 3mm, and a 5mm foramX board isn't always 5mm. So these come in use for that. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to use these to identify the height of this particular bolt, and then basically try to get the measurement accurate on both sides. So this is saying that it's a 46.63. If I come over to this side and it's 44.82. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen this one to get it to the same as the other side, and then I'm going to pop it all back together again and run a couple of test strips, and then see what happens. So I've done that now, and the measurement on the both sides should be exactly the same. Okay, it's exactly the same there. I'm just going to pop this sides back together just in case there's any sensors in there that won't allow me to run the machine without these panels being back on the sides. So yeah, if you just give me a second, I'll do that. So after opening the unit, decreasing the tension between the rollers, I've done a couple of tests and it seems to have seemed to go through with success. I just thought I'll make another video right now just to show you guys it's working, and also techniques that I've been advised by someone, Sean, from another sign company, and that technique seems to be working really, really well, of loading the laminator. So what you do is you take a piece of scrap like this, pop it in, make sure that the lever is on the highest setting so the rollers are not touching. Load your lamination as per the instructions. Pull the lamination back, and then using the lever by my feet, I'm just going to tighten the top roll, drop that on. Now that's been dropped on, I'm just going to push this back in like so. Pop the lever down to bring the rollers tight to each other, and that's all the way down to the lamination setting. I'm going to run that. If you do this correctly, there should be no tension here. So you might notice a little bit of tension, but what I've noticed that it sort of works itself out. So I'm just going to stop it there. This is what I'm going to laminate as my test. Just going to pop it down there, and then just put it underneath this here. Push it through ever so lightly, but not putting any pressure on it. And then running that through. So that was a success. That through. Hope that video's been helpful.